Hey guys, DJ Wonder Chrissy back at it again with another live stream. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I had a couple of videos that did rather well related to the Chicago migrant topic. So today we're going to dive into that in a live stream. I'm going to show you some media reports. There seems to be mixed emotions and mixed reports on what's going on 28th in California, where they have a contaminated old railroad yard that the city of Chicago has worked out a rental deal on, and media is coming back with mixed reports. So let's look into what NBC5 Lisa Chavarria has to say about that migrant camp that they're building in Brighton Park. Let's check it out.
The construction is expected to start today at a vacant lot in the Brighton Park neighborhood. That's what the 12th Ward Alderwoman Julia Ramirez shared with her constituents on Instagram. Now, this reads in part, quote, she says, "Let me be clear. I am opposed to the construction of this site, especially as the full environmental impact study results have not been shared with my office or with the community. Construction of the winterized migrant camp is expected to start today at this vacant lot near 38th and California. The controversial location has sparked several protests, including an incident where the alderwoman reported being assaulted while she was in a crowd that gathered near the site. 6 residents filed a lawsuit earlier this month against the city and Mayor Johnson to try to stop the construction. The lawsuit claims the city doesn't have the authority to do this and continues to ignore city code as well as zoning law. While that plays out in court, construction, again, is expected to begin at that vacant lot today. NBC5 reached out to the mayor's office yesterday about the project, and we were told that there is no update.
So there you go on that. It's as far as I know that that place is a nasty, nasty place. It used to have a zinc smelter there.
Chicago's mayor's office says.
Let's hold off on this one here. Um, they tried to build a school and a couple other things there in the last 10, 15 years, and we're not allowed to do it. So now all of a sudden they're going to put in a base camp, and we're getting mixed signals from the city. You know, Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson not going to say anything. He's just going to do what he wants to do. And by the time, it gets started or whatever, people are going to not realize what happened. And it's going to be over. That's how Brandon Johnson operates in his authoritative way. But you know what? This is what the people voted for. I keep saying that. This is what the people voted for. Be careful what you vote for. Or in some cases, people just don't vote at all and they defer it to other folks. And this is what happens. This is what happens. Chicago is a mess, folks. Michigan Avenue is 30% empty. Crime is escalating. There's news reports. Just yesterday, there was like 10 or 12 armed robberies within an area of Chicago in a matter of 2-3 hours. They suspect it's the same people that's doing that. There's stores that are being broken into with stolen cars overnight on a regular basis. People looking to steal expensive stuff, shoes. It's just a matter of time before they start stealing jackets. That was a couple of years ago. Those goose down jackets with the special logo on them or whatever. They broke into the store twice within 3 weeks in the Lincoln Park neighborhood to steal some of those. Those jackets go for $600-700 a piece. So let's see what. I think this is Channel 7, what they have to say. So let's check this out.
Chicago's mayor's office says that construction will not begin tomorrow on a migrant camp planned for Brighton Park. It's unclear when the work will start. Earlier today, neighbors gathered again to protest the construction of the camp, which would be built at 38th in California. They say soil tests show the land is contaminated with toxic metals and is not safe. 12th Ward Alderwoman Julia Ramirez and neighbors are asking the city to look at the environmental impacts and potential risks.
A while back, they tried to put a playground. They couldn't. They tried to put a school. They couldn't. People did background histories on this site. It was contaminated because it was a railroad track disposal.
The winterized base camps would look like something like these camps in New York. They would temporarily house up to 2,000 migrants, many of whom are living at the airports and at police stations right now.
Watch breaking.
So there you go. Mainstream media can't seem to get the narrative correct. It's one channel says they're going ahead and starting building, another one says they're not. So let's look at another channel, WGN, and see what they have to say. All right. So here we go. This is Craig Wall of WGN. No, he's ABC, I believe. But let's check out what he's got to say.
A handful of migrants staying here at the 15th District for the past couple of weeks, since most of them were moved to shelters in Oak Park. But with the city expecting 5 more buses from Texas to arrive today, the situation here is about to change. The city has made it clear, with colder weather on the way, its goal is to move all migrants out of police stations into actual shelters. As of this morning, there were approximately 1,500 new arrivals camping out at various police districts around the city, awaiting placement. 28-year-old Wilander Hernandez just arrived last night. He said he is cold and hungry and was led to believe he would be sent right to a shelter. Instead, he finds himself camping out outside the 1st District in the South Loop. He said he was told everyone here was going to be moved out by December 1st. Annie Gomberg is a volunteer working to assist migrants brought to the 15th District on the city's west side.
I recently heard from OMC that we would be expecting 2 of the 5 buses to come to District 15 today, which can be usually around 40 people. So we would expect, if they do come, to be repopulated tonight.
Over the weekend, the city moved all migrants out of the 18th District and the Cabrini Green neighborhood, and more of these so-called decompression efforts are expected in the days ahead. In Brighton Park, work is now underway to prepare this site to be one of the 2 properties where the city will set up winterized tents to house migrants. Police were on the scene today to keep the peace after protesters blocked trucks from getting into the site on Monday. In the meantime,
So let's stop there. Some observations. I've noticed that in the last week or so, the amount of media attention that is being given to the migrant crisis in Chicago has really reduced. And as a result, at least from what I can see, right, in media reports, mainstream media, the pushback has died down a little bit. I don't know if that's true or not, but just because there's less media, there seems to be less pushback. Couple weeks ago, when the media was all above a buzz with this, and the buses were coming fast and furious, it was getting hot and heavy, and the communities were pushing back big time. And as you heard in some of these reports here, they actually were stopping some of the construction at 38th in California there in Brighton Park. And now I guess there is a lawsuit, I think, that they're supposed to rule on in the next couple of days, which is supposed to keep the city of Chicago from using public places or city-owned places to store migrants. So we'll see what the ruling is on that. There is some pushback, and as one of these reports details, there is a couple of more buses expected to show up the next day. This is November 27th, folks, and we've got like about 3 inches of snow. There is snow on the ground in Chicago, and it's getting cold. For next 5 to 7 days, it's not going to be over 32 degrees. So you don't want to be camping at this point of year in Chicago. And it's cold. It's cold. We're entering winter season, and but it's still not as cold as it's gonna get. Usually middle to late January, we hit a 10-day or 2-week period of time where we'll get, temperatures below zeros for days on end and wind chills of negative 35 degrees. So that's still to come in the middle to late January. Usually it gets cold in December. We get a little bit of snow, but it moderates a little bit. We may get up into the 40s, 42s days here and there, and then dip that back down into freezing weather. But you don't want to be outside and living outside in Chicago in the winter. Another tactic that we're seeing too is not only is the city of Chicago is trying to blend the migrants and the homeless together as one. Because that was one of the big pushbacks of the people was that, hey, you're not doing the same thing for the homeless as you are for the migrants. Now, if you're a migrant, you were allowed to go into a Chicago police station. If you're just a homeless person, they would kick you out. So now the city seems to be figuring out, hey, we need to blend this together to make people to accept this. And that's kind of the new tactic there. And I'll give Brandon Johnson some credit. From day one, he has done something smart. He's tried to put these camps into the neighborhoods as opposed to some central downtown location. Because he knows by putting them in the neighborhood, he's going to get acceptance and assimilation. Okay? Because if he put them in McCormick Place somewhere, in the middle of downtown, you're not going to get the acceptance and assimilation as you would if you put them in the neighborhoods to begin with. So he's fighting the battle now, and once he fights this battle, and if he wins this battle, it's going to be easier to assimilate these people into the communities. Even though they don't want them there, they're going to be forced to assimilate, and the fight's going to be over. So let's finish this video and see what they got to say.
Meantime, volunteers like Gomberg say they will just keep doing their part regardless of the challenges.
The only thing I ever have to ask myself is, what would I want if I was on the bus instead of in my cozy house? What would I want people to do? That allows you to keep going for a very long time.
The city is hoping to have the base camps up and running in a matter of weeks, a space that will be badly needed as buses from Texas are expected to continue coming here with no end in sight. On the west side, Craig Wall, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
What? So there you go, folks. I'm going to end this now. Check out the rest of our channel right down here, Land Cruiser Midwest. We got several migrant videos and updates for you. Like, share, and subscribe for more migrant content. Thank you for watching. It's DJ Wonder Chrissy over and out.